Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shop fair today. Today gonna go out, see what things came out today. I know one of the big releases today, was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I know there's a number of different, exclusive releases of that one. So definitely gonna go out and see, all those kind of releases and take a look at all of them. Also at the end of this video, gonna have a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews of some things I received to review and talk about. So stay tuned for those at the end of this video, as well as my brand new DVD Blu-ray update video will be up this Saturday as well. Also wanted to mention a couple things. I'm gonna be at the WonderCon convention this Saturday. So you guys are there, definitely be on the lookout for me. I'll be walking around and filming a video there and all that kind of stuff. And also right now, there's a company that I reviewed a lot of their titles for throughout the last couple of years called Epix. It's celebrating their 25th year right now, and they have an Indiegogo campaign. They're raising money for this really cool book detailing a number of their, all their releases throughout the past 25 years and stuff about the directors and all that stuff. So I'm gonna put a link below for that if you guys are interested in donating. And they have some exclusive, they have an exclusive movie they're releasing through that campaign and a number of other really cool perks and sign things and all that kind of stuff. So I put a link below for that Indiegogo campaign if you guys are interested in checking that out. Also, I'm going to put a link below for this really cool trailer for this movie called Like Me, which just premiered at South by Southwest, and the movie looks really, really cool. And I actually just recently filmed a little scene for the movie, so it's really cool to be involved with that movie because it looks really cool, the lighting and everything. That looks so cool in that movie. So definitely check out the link below to see that as well. But anyway, though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And like I said, Fantastic Beasts is one of the main releases today, the big releases. They have a really cool edition here, and it's in this kind of pop-up type case here. It's Newt's pop-up case with 5 cards. It kind of it opens up on the side like this. That's kind of cool, on some of those pop-up books. That's kind of a cool thing in here. But that's their exclusive edition here in this pop-up case, and it's $24.99 for that edition. And so it's basically the same price as the regular edition Blu-ray of that one. And they also have in here the 4K edition here, and that one is $29.99, as well as the 3D edition of the movie, and that one is $29.99 as well. And then on the side over here too, they also have the Harry Potter movies. So they have this full set of all of them together in here for $77.99, and these newer ones as well. And they also just released some of these ones as well on 4K. And at my update this weekend, I'm like I said, going to be doing a review of some of the 4K ones and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So stay tuned for that this Saturday. And over here in this section, though, they actually have the 4K releases. They didn't release all the Harry Potter movies on 4K. They only released, part 5, 6, 7, and 8. Or 7 was split into 2. But those are the only ones that they released so far on 4K. I don't know if down the line they're going to be releasing, the early films or not on 4K. And then some of the other things that came out today was, A Monster Calls, which I saw this one in theaters. This is actually a really, really good movie. It's definitely very sad, though. It's going to this knowing it's a really, really sad movie, but really, really well done. And this one came out as well, the James Franco, Bryan Cranston film, Why Him? This was actually pretty funny. This is not one of those ones that I would, watch again too often, but I actually did think it was a pretty funny movie. It's one of those movies where, when it goes down on sale, for down the line, $10 and stuff like that, it's definitely one I'd probably get, but probably not right now. The other one today as well was 20th Century Women, which I reviewed that in one of my past videos, and I actually thought that was a really good movie. And they have another new edition of the Fast and Furious films. These are ones, like I said, they've released so many different times throughout the years. This one though has a thing you push and it lights up, so that's kind of a cool thing of the speedometer thing in the car. And it has $15 rewards for Fandango for the new movie, so that's kind of cool. This is the one that the most recent release. And they also one of the other things that came out today, and I'm going to talk about this at the end of the video, is Planet Earth. And they have the 4K one and then the standard Blu-ray. And they did release, one of the Fast and Furious movies on 4K as well. Into the Valley Thrift Store we go. So we're going to take a look and see what's in here today. Is anything different? This thing is kind of weird. I feel like I saw this one years ago. It's a thing, the studio that did, Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run. This is one, I think it was kind of a dirtier one, more adult type animated type thing they did. I think I saw this once or twice, and I think it was from Adams Films. Yeah, I think it was a web type show. I think I remember from years back watching that one. That's definitely one you don't come across too often. But I'm gonna look through all this and see if there's anything different here today. And they have tons of these things in here, these mini CDRs. I don't even know what these were for. I think some kind of like a weird thing to keep music on or something. I know they don't use these at all anymore. I think you could put movies on them as well. I don't know what years they're from, but they have like a million of them in here. But not really looking like anything in here too different. It definitely looks like they got in some new stuff, but nothing really, it's all kind of real common stuff. That's the problem with a lot of these thrift stores is every so often something really rare you can come across in here, but a lot of times it's just that kind of the stuff that you see all the time. It's the same old stuff, and it's looking like today it's a lot of the same typical stuff you're always coming across, except for that Rex the Runt. That's really the only different thing I saw in here today. Into Deborah's next to new thrift store we go. Well, we'll see if they changed anything out in here. It's in here maybe a month or two ago. I think they used to have at one point a lot more stuff in here. Now it's not as much, and the prices in here are usually a little high, like $5 for Napoleon Dynamite just for the DVD of it. So I remember prices in here were not that great. I did see a couple out of print things in here in the past, so you know, you never really know. The worst is when I get something that's out of print, and then like, you know, a couple weeks later, then they you know, announce the Blu-ray of it. So that happens quite a bit. This movie, hopefully at some point they could put this movie out on Blu-ray. This is like one of my favorite Kurt Russell movies that people don't really talk about too often. This is one of those releases too where it's like one of those old widescreens where it doesn't fit the TV and the bars are on the side of the TV as well. Hopefully at some point they do a better release of this movie, because this is a really, really cool, underrated movie. And they do have some VHS in here, and this is kind of a weird one. I don't think I ever saw this Dabney Coleman movie, Short Time. I don't think I ever saw this one. They have a really early VHS of Mr. Mom. Like I don't even remember this like cover for this one. This is like one of those really early VHS ones. I know they did like another more like known cover for this. This is another one that hopefully at some point gets a Blu-ray release. Like I always like this movie. It's kind of another one that's sort of underrated and you don't really hear about too often. Into Walmart we go. And hopefully this Walmart put the stuff out. This is the second one I'm going to. The first one was doing some kind of like heavy duty restocking inventory. There was like probably like 5 people in every aisle and every section of the entire store. So none of the movies were changed out or anything. So really keep my fingers crossed that this one has, you know, isn't having that going on right now. It has the stuff out. Especially next Tuesday, there's a whole bunch of new releases. So that's the thing that always is a pain, is when you go to a lot of different Walmarts and stuff and they don't put anything out yet. So you have to go to like a number of ones, and that usually happens quite often lately, and it's like, oh, it's like 1 o'clock. I don't know why. For some reason it seems to happen a lot at Walmart. And luckily enough in here they put out all the stuff, and they have their own exclusive edition here of Walmart that has like a Fantastic Beast, which has an 80-page coloring book in here. So that's their exclusive edition, and it seems like their version with the coloring book here, that one's, you know, $29.96, so it's like $5 more for the one with the coloring book. And then, you know, the regular, like I said, Blu-ray, just like a Target, is $24.96 in here as well. The other thing that came out today, you know, was Patriots Day, and they have Why Him here as well. And the 4K edition of that one is $24.96 in here. And then, like I showed in Target, you know, Monster Calls. But other than that, though, oh yeah, The Silence came out today as well. And this one doesn't seem to have a slipcover on it. I'm pretty sure, though, when I reviewed it, it had a slipcover. And they have, they actually do have Fast 6 on 4K as well. And then the other thing that came out today on 4K was the Smurfs. So I don't even think I don't know if I ever saw the first Smurfs movie. I feel like I saw the second one. I don't know if I ever saw the first one or not. And this weekend I saw a bunch of different movies. The one I saw that I really liked the best was the movie Life. And that was actually a really cool movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. And it was very much like, pretty much like Alien, that sort of vibe of them up in space, and they discover this, they get a sample from Mars, they start experimenting on it, and of course, though, things go terribly wrong with it, and the experiment gets like loose in the ship, and it's like all these terrible things are going on, and the creature in it was like this weird like blob-like thing that's crawling around and stuff. I don't know, I really liked the way the creature looked, and it just had a really creepy vibe. The other one I saw was Wilson, you know, which stars, you know, Woody Harrelson. It's from the same writer, you know, Daniel Clowes, who wrote Ghost World. In this movie, you know, Wilson was based on his graphic novel as well, and he wrote the script. And that was, I actually kind of like that. That has really mixed reviews, but I always really like Woody Harrelson, and he, like, you know, if you know Ghost World too, the characters in that are real, like, downbeat, depressed kind of characters, and he plays a real depressed guy who, like, 17 years ago, his wife left him, and he still hasn't gotten over it, and he ends up tracking her down on Facebook and going to see her and finding out that this daughter that she, you know, he thought that his wife had this abortion, and it turns out she actually had the daughter, so they go on this mission to find the daughter and, like, befriend her. And I actually enjoyed it. Like, it's one of those, like, kind of negative, sort of mean-spirited type movies, but it was actually kind of funny. And the other one that I saw, which is getting really horrible reviews, is Chips. And for some reason, like, I actually liked it. I actually thought it was actually a very funny movie, but a lot of people really dislike it. And I guess I like it a little bit more because I never really saw Chips, the show. I only saw a couple episodes here and there of it. And it's just basically like a raunchy remake of it. And I like Dax Shepard in it a lot. He directed that, and he also directed the movie Hit and Run a couple of years back, which I actually liked as well. And I just thought it was funny with like them as those cops and all the weird stuff they get into and stuff. But I thought it was actually kind of a funny movie and had some really, like, raunchy scenes and stuff. If you guys saw any of the movies, though, let me know below what you guys thought of those ones. Into Best Buy we go. And Best Buy in here has an exclusive. It looks like they have 2 left in here. An exclusive, you know, 4K Steelbook in here. You know, the Blu-ray as well. The only at Best Buy Steelbook. That's a really cool look to this Steelbook. It is more money though. It's $34.99, but it is the 4K edition. It is interesting though. It seems like lately they've been doing a lot of the exclusive Steelbooks in here have been, you know, 4K exclusive ones. And they have in here as well, like I showed in Walmart, or I think it was Walmart or Target, the 4K releases of the other Harry Potter movies. Like I said, I don't know if they're going to put out down the line the earlier Harry Potter movies on 4K as well or not. And in here, there's their edition of the Fast and Furious, the Ultimate Collection one, you know, that lights up it down here. There's one comes with like an exclusive like keychain in here with sound. So if you guys are interested in picking up this set, you know, you can get the one in here with the exclusive keychain with the Blu-ray set here. It seems like it might be a little cheaper in here. It's $69.99 for all. I think yes, all 7 movies in this one. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video. Anyway though, guys, now stay tuned for a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got here from Sony is one that I was really interested in seeing. This one. This was one of the last movies that Anton Yelchin had filmed before he had passed away. It's a movie called We Don't Belong Here Anymore. It's kind of got the vibe of like Donnie Darko. Like I was watching this, I'm like, this sort of really has that same kind of feel as Donnie Darko. And I really, really like this movie because it's got that same kind of, the way the movie flows, the kind of gloom, weird feeling to it and everything. The way it kind of goes and stuff, and you don't know, is like this real or is this a dream? Like all these, it has like these weird type of feelings out of this whole movie. You don't really know how to feel with what's going on and what order things are playing out in. The movie though is basically like this family, they've all got these kind of problems. They don't really get along very much. They don't really see each other very much at all. They all have their own sort of issues. Anton Yelchin's character is like depressed in the beginning of the movie. You see him jump off of this like hotel balcony, and you know he ends up in the asylum, you know, the mental institution because of what had happened. He's like really depressed, so he's in there like in a terrible state. His Catherine Keener's one daughter, she's like, you know, really popular, like Britney Spears type musician who's very popular and like really, you know, everyone knows about her, but her mother hasn't seen her in years. She hardly doesn't even know anything about her, even though she's like all over the place and everyone knows who she is. But it's just this weird type of movie when they've all got their own set of these problems and they kind of come together and stuff. It's just this really, like I said, it's definitely got that Donnie Darko type feel to this movie. It's extremely hard to explain. Like I was, you know, watching this, I'm like, how am I going to explain this movie? Because it's one of those movies, it's like impossible to explain. You know, check out the trailer of this movie, but I absolutely love this movie. Like I just love the whole feel of this movie. If you guys like movies like Donnie Darko with that type of vibe to it, I would highly recommend this movie because like I said, it's got that same type of feel to this. The next one here from Sony, it's a movie, you know, a Frank Langella movie with Billy Cudrip. I always say his name wrong. Christina Applegate is in this movie. It's a movie called Youth in Oregon. It's basically though about Frank Langella's character, and he's like, he kind of finds out in the beginning of this movie that he's sick, and he like, basically he's gonna probably be okay, but he's like older now. I think he's like 80, and he's kind of like depressed, and he's like getting to the point where he's like, you know what, I'm tired of living. So he wants to go to one of those states where they allow you to, basically because he owns a property in this state where you can basically have a doctor kind of, I guess like it's like euthanize, like basically can kill you is what it is. Like you can basically be, just basically just say, I want the doctor to kill me through like an injection, and he wants to go there to do this. So like I said, this is a very gloom movie, but he wants to go there, and his son-in-law ends up going with him, and it's kind of like him on the road trip with him and his wife, Frank Langoa's wife, played by Mary Kay Place, and they're kind of like this gloom journey of them driving there, and they're kind of like hoping that they can kind of talk him out of wanting to do this because he is healthy, he is okay, he would be able to live quite a long life still, but he like kind of is just like, I'm sick and tired of living, I don't really want to get any older, and he's like kind of depressed and stuff. So it's kind of like this road trip kind of movie with him, like with this destination of a plan. There's another movie I remember that had a similar, I think it was a movie with Richard Dreyfuss. I kind of remember having a similar type of idea, like he was going with a road trip with this girl, and then he kind of wanted to do the same type of thing. And this movie though, like, and Christian Applegate's in this movie too as well. I like this movie. Like I said though, you have to go in this movie knowing that it's kind of like a sad, gloom subject matter, and you're kind of like, well, is he going to do this? What's he going to decide? And that's kind of what it is. Like I said, it's just like a road movie about this, like with a pretty dark subject matter. The next one here from Warner Brothers is one that I didn't get to see this one in theaters. It's had some mixed reviews, but it was directed by Ben Affleck, and I've always liked the movies Ben Affleck directed. I think my favorite one though is The Town, and like I recently watched that one again a couple months back on 4K, and that's a really, really good movie. This one is called Live by Night, and like I said, this is starring Ben Affleck, and Elle Fanning's in this movie as well, and it's basically like, it's kind of like Ben Affleck is kind of like a mafia guy. This is all set during the Prohibition, and he's like a bootlegger, but he like kind of is like in the beginning, he's like kind of doing all kind of like weird crime type activities, and like there's this insane attack scene in the beginning of the movie when he gets attacked by these people because of what he does, and it's like kind of like him throughout the years of him getting this, like working through the bootleg business, and kind of like his enemies and all the kind of problems that he comes across, and like it's all like that same type of gangster type feeling type movie like Goodfellas and things like that, but this was set though like in the 30s, like I said, during the whole Prohibition era when when alcohol was illegal and they were all bootlegging the alcohol, and it was kind of like him is involved in that business and all the crime and all that kind of stuff in that same vicinity. But I like this movie. Like I said, it's not, probably didn't like it as much as I like The Town and some of the other Ben Affleck films, but I still thought this was actually very well done. He also directed Argo, but has on here though some featurettes on this movie, a commentary track, and deleted scenes on this one. But like I said though, if you guys are a fan of Ben Affleck's, the stuff that he's directed, it still has the same type of feel to his other movies, just not as strong as some of the other ones. The next one here from Vision Films. This is one I was really interested in seeing this movie. This stars Kenny Johnson, Bill Goldberg, a bunch of different people are in this movie. Fred Williamson is in this movie. Stephen Joffrey's, who I really love. Stephen Joffrey's in this movie. Stephen Joffrey's, was in Fright Night, and he was in another movie that I really liked a couple years back called New Terminal Hotel, and I think they called it like Do Not Open the Door or something like that. It has like a couple different titles, but he was like the star of that one, and he's in this movie playing like a homeless man. It's it's directed by Thomas Churchill, and I actually really like this movie. Like I said, it was one I was really interested in seeing for quite a while, and it was actually kind of a cool movie, and it has like a lot of people are in this. Like I said, Bill Goldberg's in this movie, Kane Hodder's in the film, so lots of different people are in this movie. But it's basically though about it's kind of like they're planning, these group of these people are kind of planning like a kind of a terrorist type activity of like hijacking these boats and stuff. And Kenny Johnson's character, who is came back from the war, and he's now had post-traumatic stress from that, and he now lives on the street, and he's friends with Stephen Joffrey's, and they both are homeless and living out in the street. It's kind of like essentially the idea though is something happens to Stephen Joffrey's character, and like I said, there's terrorist activities going on in this small town, things you would not expect that are going on in this town, and Kenny Johnson's character discovers this, and it's kind of like him kind of trying to stop this and all the kind of activities going on, and it's like you don't know who you can trust in this movie. It's like the characters, you don't know who kind of like who's in on this whole thing and who you can trust in the town to try and figure out exactly what's going on here. It has on here though some interviews on here with the cast and crew and a theatrical trailer, but I really like this one a lot. Like I said, I also exceptionally, like I said, really liked Stephen Joffrey's character. I thought he did a really good performance in this movie, and it was much more subdued, more like I said, like the movie like New Terminal Hotel, but really, really cool, well-made movie here. The next one here from Vertical Entertainment is a movie called Eloise, and it stars Eliza Dushku and Robert Patrick. This is one I really was interested in watching, and it's basically all set in the beginning of the movie. Though you find out about this insane asylum. There was this huge insane asylum. I don't remember where it was set, but it was like set in this town where they had like this building had all kind of buildings. It was like a whole like network of like buildings and stuff like that. It was a huge like establishment, and it had all closed down except for I think it was only like 2 buildings that were left. And in the beginning of the movie, though, the Chance Crawford's character, he finds out that his father had passed away and he's leaving him the money in his, in his will. But he has a problem where he's not going to be able to get this money unless he can kind of prove that his aunt is dead, because like his aunt was actually in this insane asylum, where this movie takes place, and she like lived there, and he has to kind of go to the place and get the documents to kind of prove that she has actually died. Otherwise, the money is going to take like a number of years before it will actually go to him, and he's got his own kind of financial problems, so he has to try and get this money. So he kind of plans to. He meets this one guy who's like a huge fan of this building. Who's like kind of like obsessed with the insane asylum and stuff, and him along with his sister kind of go and plan to break into this building and steal the documents about the sister, because when he goes there, the documents that he needs that proves that she's dead are all like locked up, and you need all this kind of like information to get them and stuff from the police, and it'd be like impossible for him to get them. So he plans to break in there. Of course, though, when he breaks in there, very creepy, weird things start to happen and stuff. I always like these kind of movies set in like insane asylums and all like the crazy stuff, and it's kind of like when you get there you kind of find out about all the weird stuff and the experiments and all that stuff that were going on in this building. But a pretty cool creepy movie here. The next one here from BBC Earth, or BBC Americas and BBC Earth. This was a really cool. This is a 4K Ultra HD release, and this one though it only has the 4K edition, because a lot of times when they have like 4K releases they have like standard Blu-rays in there as well. But this exact edition though, if you're picking up this one, make sure though this one though only has the 4K discs, so you'd have to make sure if you couldn't play that just to get the Blu-ray. But when it comes to actually 4K, I think this is probably the best 4K I've ever seen. Like, and I've like watched a lot of different movies through it. I think this is like the best. Like, if you want something to really see an example of 4K and how good it looks and stuff like that, this is one I would highly recommend you guys watch. And this is Planet Earth 2, the BBC documentary, and it's basically though going to different kind of continents, like the jungle and different types of places, and it's basically going there and showing the animals there. And the thing that's different about this documentary too is it's not like all done like just like about the positive nature of things. It actually shows kind of the sad stuff that goes on in the animal kingdom, about like these snakes that are kind of killing these animals, and it's kind of like shows like the whole food chain thing about animals getting killed by other animals. And like just the cinematography on this is absolutely amazing. Like, if you want to watch something, like I said, that really, really shows the details of 4K with the high dynamic range, which is all like the contrast ratios and the colors and the brightness, because that's another thing with 4K, is it really has like super bright colors and everything. This, like I said, is an absolutely amazing, example to see 4K. And this is the first thing, like I said, where I really, really felt like I was seeing 4K and seeing the examples and seeing how good it can be. It has on here, though, Planet Earth Diaries, a 54-minute show showing how the astonishing footage was captured, like a making of behind the scenes, showing how they filmed this, because like the stuff they were getting to in these close-up shots and how they would follow these animals and stuff, just amazing the kind of stuff that they would get for this documentary. But would highly recommend this, like, really well done documentary. I think the first Planet Earth was out in like 2000. I think like 8 or 9, something like that. The next one here from Studio Canal, and this is a Region B release, so keep that in mind. You need a Region Free player to play this one. This is a movie called The Chamber, and this is basically about like a crew that, like, it's like a crew that I think it's in Norway, that has a like kind of an old sort of submarine that they take down for people that need to like check things out and stuff. And these group of these Americans kind of rent out the submarine because they want to. There's something they're trying to find down below at sea level, and that they're kind of like not saying exactly what it is they're trying to find. But of course, though, they go down there and you know, then they accidentally like set off this charge down there and find themselves trapped down there, and they don't know how they're going to get back up to, you know, to the surface, and something is going on the boat they came down for. You heard that it's like getting hijacked and something's happening, so it's kind of them down there trying to figure out exactly how they're going to get back up there, and it's like deals with all the things because they're so far down. Like if they try and go right up, they're going to get the bends and stuff, and they would like die. And that's the thing about like you dive down like at the bends and all that kind of stuff, and like your head will explode or all these kind of terrible things will happen. So it's kind of them not really sure what they're going to do because they can't communicate with anybody up there. And it's kind of them figuring out exactly what's going to happen and how they're going to get back up there. It's actually a pretty cool movie. Like I said, the whole movie is set inside this small little submarine, so it's got that real kind of like self-contained, you know, all set in one small space kind of feel to the whole thing. And this has on here though a featurette in the movie and a commentary track for the director. And the next ones here are some releases from Mill Creek. This is a 3 you know, triple feature collection. This is the main one that I was really excited about on this because it's never been released on Blu-ray, and I don't know if the other 2, Closer or Perfect Stranger, have been released on Blu-ray either. But this is a movie on here called Wind Chill. This is a really, really early Emily Blunt movie. I think one of her first movies, or one of the first movies of hers that I had seen, and it was like all set in the snow. Really, really creepy movie, and it was like her gets arrived with this stranger, and all these weird things happen. I always really, really liked that movie, and I was glad to see, you know, it got a Blu-ray release of this one. And let me know if you guys have seen that one. I know this one, I feel like they played on HBO and stuff like that a lot, but always really liked that movie a lot. Really creepy movie, and one of the few horror movies that she did. I don't think she really did too many horror films, at least not that I can recall. And also, all of them look very good because I looked at the picture on the other ones. And this one is a 3-movie set too, called the Cycle Circus Collection triple feature, and it's all like things kind of set with like a circus kind of like carnival type feel to them. And it's got 3 different movies on here, and they're all from like 70s, like 60, 71, 67, and 1972. And it's the Brotherhood of Satan's on here, Torture Garden, which is like an early Jack Palance movie with Burgess Meredith. And I don't think any of these have been released on Blu-ray before, as far as I know. And then The Creeping Flesh. And I don't think these were Hammer movies. I don't think. I'm pretty sure they weren't. But like I said, I don't think any of these had been released on, you know, Blu-ray in the past, at least as far as I can remember. Maybe Torture Garden was, but I can't remember for certain. But all really creepy movies, and, you know, cool horror movies. And then, you know, Christopher Lee's and The Creeping Flesh. Same with Peter Cushing in here. And the next one here is a Tom Hanks one from Mill Creek as well, with Sally Field, which is one that I had never heard of before. It's kind of a fun stand-up comedy movie about their like relationship and them kind of like trying to grow as stand-up comedians and stuff. And I don't know how I never saw this movie or never even heard of this movie. It's a movie called Punchline. It's from 1988. And it's just like one of those movies, like there's some movies that kind of come out and then you kind of like really kind of go under the radar and like kind of get forgotten about. And I feel like this is one of those movies that like I said, I had never heard of this movie. It's actually a pretty fun movie called Punchline. Another one that has really good transfer on these ones. I like that, you know, Mill Creek is starting to put out like a lot of like lesser known titles and stuff like that I feel like, you know, really, like I said, I've never really heard of. And the last one here is another one from Mill Creek as well. It's a Sidney Poitier and River Phoenix movie. It's another one I never saw about this family that like was believed to be like a Russian spies, and you know, and then like Sidney Poitier is kind of like investigating the whole thing and trying to figure out what's going on. And it's kind of River Phoenix's son who's kind of like not really knowing what's going on and stuff, is kind of oblivious to the kind of stuff that's going on, or you don't know for sure if he is. And it's a movie called Little Nikita here. Like I said, all these ones have really, really good transfers on them on these releases. But cool, like I said, I really like the kind of stuff that Mill Creek is putting out lately, like that they're putting out Blu-ray releases of a lot of lesser known and ones at least that I have not really heard of too often. But anyway though guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.